The space between stimulus and response is where your power lives, and it's only as wide as a single breath. And that is the thought for today. Welcome to 7 Good Minutes. I'm Clyde Lee Dennis. Thanks for joining me for what I believe will be 7 of the most enriching minutes of your day. In today's episode of 7 Good Minutes, we talk about breathing before you begin anything important. Enjoy. There's a moment that exists between intention and action, between thought and movement, between stillness and engagement. It's a moment we often rush past in our eagerness to get things done, to move forward, to make progress. But what if that moment, that pause, that single breath, could change everything about how we approach our day and our life? By the end of this episode, you'll understand why taking a breath before you begin anything important isn't about slowing down, but about showing up more fully to whatever you're about to do. We live in a culture of immediate action. We wake up and immediately reach for our phones. We start conversations without pausing to center ourselves. We dive into tasks without considering our approach. We begin meetings, projects, and even meals in a state of mental momentum that carries us forward, but doesn't necessarily carry us well. But there's profound wisdom in the simple act of breathing before you begin. This isn't about meditation or complex breathing techniques, though those have their place. This is about the power of a single, conscious breath to shift your entire relationship with whatever you're about to undertake. When you breathe before you begin, you're creating a bridge between where you've been and where you're going. You're allowing yourself to arrive fully in the present moment, instead of carrying the energy and distractions of your previous activity into your next one. You're giving yourself the gift of intentionality. Think about the difference between rushing into a conversation while your mind is still processing your last email, versus taking one conscious breath and then engaging with full presence. The conversation itself might be exactly the same, but your quality of participation, your ability to listen, your capacity to respond thoughtfully rather than reactively, all of these can be transformed by that single breath. This practice works for anything. Before you start your car, breathe. Before you open your laptop, breathe. Before you walk into a meeting, breathe. Before you begin cooking dinner, breathe. Before you pick up the phone, breathe. Each breath is an opportunity to reset, to center, to approach what comes next with greater awareness and intention. The breath serves as a natural pause button for your nervous system. When we're rushing from one thing to the next, our bodies often remain in a state of low-level stress, even when the individual tasks aren't particularly challenging. This accumulated tension affects our decision-making, our creativity, our patience, and our overall sense of well-being. But when you breathe before you begin, you're signaling to your nervous system that you're safe, that you're present, that you're choosing to engage rather than simply reacting. This small shift can have profound effects on how you experience your day and how effectively you handle whatever comes your way. The beauty of this practice is that it requires no additional time. You're not adding another item to your to-do list or another step to your routine. You're simply inserting a moment of consciousness into transitions you're already making. You're transforming automatic actions into intentional ones. Sometimes that breath will reveal something important. Maybe you'll notice that you're feeling anxious about the conversation you're about to have, and that awareness will help you approach it with more compassion. Maybe you'll realize that you're still carrying frustration from your last interaction, and the breath will help you release it before moving forward. Other times, the breath simply serves as a reset, a way of arriving fully in the present moment without any particular insight or revelation. Both experiences are valuable. The goal isn't to have a profound realization with every breath, but to cultivate a habit of presence and intentionality. This practice also helps you notice the quality of your transitions throughout the day. Are you moving from task to task with grace and awareness, or are you rushing through your life in a state of constant motion? The breath before beginning becomes a gentle reminder to slow down not your productivity, but your reactivity. You might find that when you breathe before you begin, you make different choices about how to approach what you're doing. Maybe you realize you need to adjust your posture before sitting down to work. Maybe you notice that you want to smile before answering the phone. Maybe you decide to take a moment to appreciate the meal before you start eating. These small adjustments, inspired by the pause of a single breath, can accumulate into a significantly different experience of your day. You're not changing what you do, you're changing how you do it, and that how makes all the difference. As you move through your day today, experiment with this simple practice. Before you begin anything that matters to you, take one conscious breath. Notice what happens in that moment of pause. Notice how it affects your approach to what follows. You might be surprised by how much power exists in such a simple act. That does it for today's episode of 7 Good Minutes. Please take a moment to rate and review the show on the platform you're listening on. Until next time, let's be civil to one another out there. Thanks for listening.